Life's been kind of a wild ride, you know? Here I am, Anna, clocking in at 42, with what you might call the whole package. Got a nice house, thanks to my folks passing it down. It's one of those cozy places that's seen more memories than I can count. And then there's Mark, my other half. Met him back when I was just figuring life out, and he was tending bar at some dive, barely scraping by. My dad saw something in him, though, pulled some strings, and bam, Mark's running the top spot in town now. Funny how things turn out, huh? Our kids, Emily and Alex, they're our little trophies. Emily's got her head screwed on tight, always one step ahead, a real spitfire. Alex, he's the quiet storm, always buried in a book or some hobby that's got his brain ticking. I remember when Mark and I decided to shack up. It wasn't all roses and sunshine, but something about us just clicked. We were a team, tackling whatever crap life threw our way. When Emily came along, we were over the moon, and then Alex rounded us out. Felt like we hit the jackpot, you know? Mom, why'd you pick Dad, of all people? Emily would ask, her tone dripping with that teenage mix of curiosity and skepticism. I'd laugh, tossing a look Mark's way. Well, he made me laugh. And your granddad thought he could use a leg up. Seemed like a good bet. Mark would chime in. And I had the charm. Don't forget the charm, Anna. Yeah, charm, I'd echo, with a wink. Life with Mark was never dull. He had a way of turning the mundane into something worth remembering. Alex, ever the observer, would add, Dad's cool. He knows everyone and everything about the bar. That bar, it was more than just a job for Mark. It was his kingdom, and he ruled it with a kind of passion that was contagious. My dad helping him land that gig was the best kind of meddling. Gave us a stability we might not have had otherwise. We'd sit around the dinner table, the four of us, and it felt like we were in our little bubble. This is it, you know? I'd say, soaking in the moment. Our slice of the good life. And that was us. A bit rough around the edges, maybe, but solid. It was in those moments, amidst the banter and the everyday chaos, that I'd feel this surge of gratitude. For my family, our home, and the life we'd built out of love, laughs, and a whole lot of hard work. It wasn't perfect, but damn, it was ours. The thing about doubt is it creeps up on you like a shadow at dusk, silent and almost invisible until it's all you can see. That's how it started with Mark. His late nights at the bar weren't anything new, but they started stacking up, night after night, more than the usual. And then, one night, he didn't come home at all. Where's Dad? Alex asked one morning, his eyes scanning the empty seat at the breakfast table. Work stuff, baby. He had to stay late, I answered, stirring my coffee more than it needed, avoiding Emily's piercing gaze. Yeah, right. Emily snorted, her skepticism as clear as day. That's getting old, Mom. I couldn't shake her words, nor the nagging feeling in my gut. Mark had excuses, sure, but they were getting flimsier by the day. And then came the lipstick. A bright, bold color, clashing with everything in my makeup drawer. Holding it between my fingers felt like holding a piece of evidence, a clue in a mystery I didn't want to solve. This yours? I asked Emily, trying to keep my voice steady. She glanced at it and rolled her eyes. Please, Mom. I wouldn't be caught dead in that shade. The conversation with Mark about it was anything but reassuring. Found this in your car, I said, tossing the lipstick onto the kitchen counter between us. Mark barely glanced at it before shrugging. Probably one of the staff's. You know how it is, things get left behind. His nonchalance stung, a stark contrast to the turmoil churning inside me. Things, or people? I shot back, the words out before I could stop them. Anna, come on. You know it's not like that, he replied, his tone a mix of frustration and fatigue. I wanted to believe him, to laugh it off as paranoia, but the seed of doubt had taken root. Emily, always one to call it like she sees it, didn't let it go. You're not actually buying that, are you? It's like textbook cheating behavior. Her blunt assessment hit hard. "What do you suggest then, detective?" I asked, half in jest, half desperate for any kind of guidance. "Hire someone to follow him. Find out for real," she said, dead serious. The idea was ludicrous, something out of a TV drama, not our life. But the thought lodged itself in my mind, growing with every unanswered call, every vague explanation of Mark's whereabouts. Deciding to hire a private investigator felt like crossing a line, the first step down a path I wasn't sure I wanted to tread. But as I tossed and turned, I realized that not knowing was worse than any truth I might uncover. The uncertainty was a constant, gnawing presence, and I needed it gone. Morning brought a decision, a resolve hardened by a restless night. "I'm going to do it," I told Emily, her nod of approval, both reassuring and terrifying. Mark, oblivious to the storm brewing, kissed me goodbye that morning with a casual, "See you tonight." I watched him go, the familiar routine now tinged with suspicion and fear. What I was about to do felt like betrayal, yet wasn't that what I feared he was doing to me? The irony wasn't lost on me, but neither was the determination to find the truth, no matter how it would change us. The week after deciding to hire a PI felt like the longest of my life. Every time Mark left for work, I wondered if today would be the day I'd get the call with news I didn't want to hear. But when Peter, the private investigator and an old family friend, finally rang, his news was like a breath of fresh air I didn't know I was holding in. "No signs of cheating, Anna. Just work and the usual errands," Peter reported over the phone, his voice a mix of professionalism and relief. I almost dropped the phone, a laugh bubbling up from somewhere deep inside. "Are you sure, Peter? Like, really sure?" Cross my heart. I followed him to the bar, a car service station, and even a grocery run. "If he's seeing someone, he's got them stashed in the cereal aisle," Peter joked, trying to lighten the mood. The relief was palpable, washing over me in waves. When I shared the news with Emily, her reaction was a mix of relief and skepticism. "So, we just trust him again?" Emily asked, eyebrows raised, her tone laced with doubt. "It looks that way, honey. Maybe we were just being paranoid," I replied, trying to convince myself as much as her. Emily shrugged, not entirely convinced, but willing to let it go for the moment. "If you say so, Mom. But I'm keeping my eyes open." Life started to get back to normal after that. Mark's late nights didn't stop, but the suspicion had been lifted, replaced by a tentative trust. That is until I found the receipt. It was just lying there on the dresser, a piece of paper that felt heavier than it looked. An expensive handbag from a high-end store, the kind of purchase we'd talk about if it were for me. I waited for days for Mark to mention it, to hand me a gift-wrapped box with a sheepish smile, but it never came. Finally, curiosity and a hint of concern got the better of me. "Mark, did you buy something from Luxe Couture recently?" I asked casually over dinner, trying to keep my tone light. Mark nearly choked on his drink, coughing before replying, Yeah. A gift for a client. You know, bar business. I paid with corporate money." The explanation felt off, forced. I nodded, trying to shove down the doubt creeping back in. The ease that had settled over our house after Peter's call was cracking, the receipt a reminder that trust, once questioned, isn't easily rebuilt. The next morning, I made a decision. I couldn't let it go, not without more proof. "I'm going to check our account," I whispered to myself, a plan forming. Just to be sure. But what I found only deepened the mystery. A large withdrawal, around the same time as the purchase of an expensive handbag. When I called the dealership about the supposed car repairs Mark mentioned, they had no record of him. I was trying to piece together a puzzle with half the pieces missing, and every new bit of information just made the picture more confusing. It was during one of these restless nights that my niece, Lily, dropped by unannounced. She was always a bit of a free spirit, bouncing from one thing to the next, and recently she had started working at the bar Mark managed. "Hey, Aunt Anna, just thought I'd swing by. You know, see how you're doing," she said, breezing into the kitchen where I was trying to drown my suspicions in a cup of tea. I couldn't help but notice the flashy new handbag she had slung over her shoulder. It was hard to miss, considering it looked exactly like the one from the receipt I found. "That's a nice bag, Lily." "Looks expensive," I commented, trying to sound casual. Lily glanced at her handbag and then at me, a flicker of something crossing her face, before she masked it with a smile. "Oh, this old thing? Got a great deal on it." You know me, always on the lookout for a bargain. The way she said it, too quick, too rehearsed, set off alarm bells in my head. "Funny," I started, leaning against the counter. "It looks just like one from Luxe Couture. Saw a receipt for something similar. Was wondering who it was for." Her reaction was immediate and telling. She shifted uncomfortably, her gaze darting away. "Luxe Couture? Really? No idea what you're talking about, Aunt Anna." "Like I said, got this on sale." The conversation felt like a dance, both of us circling around the truth. I wasn't sure what to believe anymore. "Right, a sale. Just curious, is all," I replied, my mind racing. The coincidence was too big to ignore, and my heart sank as I considered the implications. Later that evening, I shared my concerns with Emily, who had become my confidant through this whole mess. "Lily came by today, with a new handbag. The same one Mark supposedly bought for a client," I explained, the words tasting bitter. Emily's brow furrowed, her detective mind ticking over. "That's sketchy, Mom. You think Dad?" I sighed, rubbing my temples. "I don't know what to think anymore, Em. It's like every time I get a handle on things, something else comes out of left field. We need to keep digging. This doesn't add up, and you deserve the truth," Emily said, her voice firm with conviction. The next day, I found myself looking at Mark, trying to reconcile the man I married with the person who might be at the center of all these secrets. "Mark, can we talk? There's something bothering me," I said, my voice steady, despite the turmoil inside. "Sure, Anna. What's up?" he replied, oblivious to the storm brewing. I took a deep breath, ready to dive into the heart of my fears. "It's about us, Mark. About trust and honesty. I just want us to be open with each other, no secrets." Mark looked at me, a flicker of something in his eyes before he masked it with a reassuring smile. "Anna, you know you can trust me. We've been through so much together." I wanted to believe him, to go back to the way things were before the doubts and the secrets. But the path to the truth was clear, and there was no turning back now. The discovery of the handbag and the lies about the car repairs were just the beginning, and I was determined to uncover whatever was hiding in the shadows of our life. The decision didn't come easy. Planting cameras felt like something out of a spy movie, not something a schoolteacher and mother of two should be doing. Yet, there I was, channeling my inner detective, driven by a mix of desperation and determination. Emily, ever my partner in this unwelcome adventure, helped me strategize. "Mom, make sure you place them where you'll get a good view. And the car one, it has to be really hidden," Emily advised, her tone serious, a stark contrast to our usual light-hearted banter. "Yeah, I know. It feels wrong, but I can't shake this feeling. I need to know," I replied, the weight of our plan settling heavy on my heart. The installation was easier than I thought. The staff at the bar knew me well, letting me in with sympathetic smiles, no questions asked. They probably thought I was surprising Mark. If only they knew. The car was trickier, but darkness and determination were on my side. As I tucked the tiny camera into its hiding spot, I whispered a silent apology to Mark, to us, for what our marriage had become. Then came the wait, a torturous blend of hope and fear. What if I was wrong? What if this tore our family apart for nothing? 3 days later, with Emily beside me for support, I played the recordings. The visuals were damning enough, but it was their laughter that cut the deepest. There they were, Mark and Lily, my niece, in what they thought was their private sanctuary, mocking the life we had built. "Can you believe Anna? So clueless, arranging for you to work here was the best thing she's ever done for us," Lily's voice, sharp and cruel, filled the room. Mark's laughter joined hers, a sound that once brought me joy now twisted into a knife. Yeah, she's so busy playing the perfect wife and mother, she doesn't see what's right under her nose. The betrayal was one thing, but their disdain, their joy at my ignorance, was something else entirely. It shattered any lingering denial, leaving me with a clarity I wished I never had. I paused the recording, my heart racing, anger and hurt warring within me. Emily's hand found mine, her grip tight. Mom, I'm so sorry. What are you going to do? My mind raced. The man I loved, the father of my children, laughing at me with my own niece. The decision was suddenly clear. First, we're going to see a lawyer. Then, I'm confronting them. This ends now. The road ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear, I was done being the fool. It was time to rebuild, for me and for my kids. The truth was a harsh mistress, but in its light, I found a strength I never knew I had. The moment I decided to confront Lily, I knew it had to be precise and calculated. I couldn't let my emotions lead, this was about getting the truth, no matter how ugly. So, I waited for her at a spot I knew she'd pass on her way home from work. The look on her face when she saw me was all the confirmation I needed. Lily, I started, my voice steady. I know everything. There's no point in lying anymore. Her facade crumbled instantly, tears welling up in her eyes. Aunt Anna, please, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen, she pleaded, her voice breaking. Save it. I've seen the videos, Lily. You and Mark, laughing at me, thinking you got one over on me. How long? I demanded, my tone hard as steel. It's been 2 years, she admitted, the words barely a whisper. I wanted to end it, I swear, but Mark, he threatened to fire me if I did. My heart sank, but I kept my composure. You're telling me he manipulated you? Threatened your job? I asked, making sure to record every word on my phone, hidden in my pocket. Yes, he said he'd ruin me if I tried to break it off. I felt trapped, Aunt Anna. I didn't know what to do. Lily sobbed, her confession painting a picture of a twisted web of lies and manipulation. And the private investigator? That was Mark's doing too? I pressed on, needing to hear all of it. Lily nodded, wiping her tears. Yes, he paid him off to lie to you, to make you think nothing was going on. I'm so sorry, Aunt Anna. The recording was enough, more than enough. I turned off my phone and looked at Lily, seeing her not just as the woman who betrayed me, but as someone who'd been caught in Mark's manipulative grasp as well. Without another word, I turned and left her there, her sobs fading into the background. The walk home was a blur, my mind racing with the weight of Lily's confession and the evidence now in my possession. When I got home, I didn't hesitate. I confronted Mark with the evidence, his lies unraveling before his eyes. It's over, Mark. I want you out. Now, I said, the finality in my voice broking no argument. He tried to explain, to apologize, but it was too late. I was done listening, done believing in the man I thought I knew. Emily and Alex stood by me, their support unwavering. We're with you, Mom. All the way, Emily said, her arm around my shoulder. Mark left that night, taking his lies and betrayal with him. As I watched him go, I felt a mix of relief and sorrow. Relief that I was finally free from the deception, and sorrow for the love and trust one had lost. But looking at my children, I knew we'd be okay. We were stronger together, and no amount of betrayal could break the bond we shared. The road ahead would be tough, but with Emily and Alex by my side, I was ready to face it head-on. The moment I decided to get legal with Mark and Lily, I knew I needed someone tough, someone who wouldn't let them off easy. I found just the lawyer, a guy known for not pulling punches in divorce court. The day I walked into his office, I laid it all out, bare bones and raw. I want them to pay every last cent they owe for what they've done, I told him, my voice firm, betraying none of the turmoil that had been my constant companion these past weeks. The lawyer, a grizzled veteran of family law wars, nodded, his eyes sharp. We'll go after them hard. Your husband for support and your niece for damages. They won't know what hit em. Good. They think they can mess with my life and walk away? Not happening, I replied, the anger giving my voice an edge. The trial was a circus, each blaming the other like kids caught in a lie. Lily, tearful, tried to pin it all on Mark, saying she was led astray. Mark, ever the charmer, tried to twist the story, making Lily out to be the seducer. Sitting there, listening to them trying to outdo each other in deceit, I felt a cold satisfaction. They were unraveling, and the judge saw right through it. In the end, the judge laid down the verdict like a hammer. Both defendants will pay significant monetary compensation for their actions. Additionally, Mr. Mark will provide child support as mandated, he declared, his voice leaving no room for doubt. Lily's parents, red-faced and silent throughout the ordeal, paid up her part of the fine. Last I heard, they dragged her back to the countryside, hoping to hide their shame and her betrayal far from prying eyes. As for Mark, watching him realize he couldn't charm his way out of this one was a small, vindictive pleasure. The look he gave me, a mix of disbelief and resentment, was all the closure I needed. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt lighter than I had in months. It wasn't just about the money, though that helped. It was about accountability, about making sure they faced the consequences of their actions. Back home, I sat down with Emily and Alex, telling them everything. It's over. The judge made his decision. We can start to move on now, I said, my voice steady. The road ahead would still be tough, but with my kids by my side, and justice served, I felt ready to face it. Mark and Lily's betrayal would always be a part of our story, but it wouldn't define us. We were moving on, stronger and closer than ever. Life after the trial felt like waking up from a long, troubled sleep. The house, once filled with tension and secrets, now buzzed with a new kind of energy, one of hope and renewal. I found myself in the kitchen one morning, the sunlight casting a warm glow over the breakfast nook, with Emily and Alex chatting about their day ahead. Mom, you know what? I think we should paint the living room. Like, really brighten the place up, Emily suggested, her spoon pausing midair. I looked up, surprised by the suggestion, but then it hit me. She was right. You know, that's not a bad idea. What color are you thinking? Something bold. Maybe a sunny yellow or a bright blue. Make it feel new, she replied, her eyes lighting up with the thought. Alex chimed in. Can we get a new couch too? The old one's kinda, well, old. I laughed, the sound more liberating than I'd expected. I think we can manage that. It's time we made some changes around here, huh? Yeah, make it ours again, Emily said, a smile spreading across her face. As we delved into plans for redecorating, I realized this was more than just changing up a room. It was about reclaiming our space, our life, making it reflect who we were now, stronger, closer, and ready for whatever came next. Later that day, as I was sorting through some old boxes, I found a photo album filled with pictures of the kids when they were younger. Flipping through it, the memories came flooding back, not just of the good times, but of the recent struggles too. Hey, look at this, I called out, holding the album open to a page where Emily had chocolate smeared all over her face, and Alex was laughing beside her. They came over, and we all huddled around, laughing and reminiscing. We've been through a lot, haven't we? I mused, a hint of nostalgia in my voice. But we made it, Mom. We're still here, still a family, Alex said, leaning against me. And we always will be, no matter what, Emily added, her hand finding mine. The moment was simple, yet profound, a reminder of what we'd endured and overcome. It solidified my resolve to ensure our new beginning was built on love, laughter, and the unbreakable bond we shared. One evening, as we sat in our newly decorated living room, the vibrant walls embracing us in their warmth, I looked at my children and felt an overwhelming sense of pride and love. We did it, kids. We started over, and look at us now, I said, my voice thick with emotion. Yeah, we did, didn't we? Emily grinned, snuggling into the new couch. This is just the beginning, right, Mom? There's so much more to come, Alex said, his eyes bright with hope. I nodded, my heart full. Yes, this is just the beginning. Our beginning. And I have a feeling it's going to be amazing.